It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
I love those conversations, though. I mean, it's about the details. It's about winning. It's about seeing what he sees. You know, he's got to get on my page, but I got to get on his page, too, because he's got a whole book that I need to understand fully of skill set and ability and feel and rhythm and all the different things that he does out there. So those are good conversations. They might appear to be much more heated than they are, but there's usually a smile on our face afterwards, at least one of us.
Aaron Rodgers on his talks with Garrett Wilson. The animated conversations on social media between the Jets quarterback and wide receiver have been, and this will shock you, PK, overblown, according to both players.
Right on schedule.
Yeah, perfect. You're stunned by this development.
That's what they always say.
The NFL moving closer to replacing the old chain gang with new technology to measure the first down line, the line to gain. NFL executive Gerry told the Associated Press the league will test Sony's Hawkeye technology during preseason games, but the system most likely wouldn't be ready for full implementation until next season. But it might happen earlier.
I did the old chain gang in high school.
Yeah?
The high school team. Yeah, the time an opposing coach got in my face. So you do that again. This will be the last down you coach.
Ooh.
And he backed away.
Had a kid. Former Weber State star Sua Opeta tore his ACL. He's going to miss the season after joining the Buccaneers this offseason and seeking a starting job at left guard. He had played with the Eagles for 4 years.
Yeah, he replaced Glenn Fry?
Ha-ha. The judge who presided over the class action lawsuit filed by Sunday Ticket subscribers against the NFL said the jury did not follow his instructions in determining damages. And U.S. District Judge Phil Gutierrez could order a new trial because the 8-person jury came up with its own calculations.
No, I hate rogue freaking runaway juries. They drive me nuts.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
I don't know. It's not a deadline thing. It's just a feel and how we see the team's doing, you know. So right now, I can tell you it's not going to happen this week. And both guys did a great job. And I mean, all 4 quarterbacks did a great job today. But their job is to make it hard on us to make the decision. But I feel comfortable having a bunch of guys that can do it. We'll just go with the best one. Right now, that one hasn't stood out yet. But I like that all 4 have done a great job today.
Kalani Sitake not naming a quarterback this week, maybe next week.
I think what they should do, the first series, have all 4 of them right there on the edge of the field. Fake here, fake there. See which one it is. Put a little drama into it.
Sprinter pose and see which one gets out of the
Yeah,
box.
and you know, like what was that show where they'd the real whatever it is, and the one night.
Oh, to tell the truth.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, and they'd have celebrities in the pre-video age. You didn't know what a lot of famous people looked like.
Right. So they'd take it.
He
start
discovered
to move.
he invented the submarine.
It would be so cool that they would do that. Yeah, I think the submarine guy is the one who had the thing in his mouth that allowed him to breathe.
Nice.
So then you knew that was a giveaway. Or, you know, like The Bachelor, where they hand the rose, they fake the rose. And
Kalani's over there handing out roses?
I think it would be so appropriate. Well,
dramatic.
eventually they're going to play in the Rose Bowl. And unlike you other people, they're going to win it.
BYU star linebacker Ben Bywater announced his college career is over. Nerve damage in his shoulder that is not responding to treatment. He got hurt in the game at Kansas last year. He left the door open to playing again if he recovers, but said he wasn't going to be cleared by BYU team doctors as he's not even 50% of the way back to full strength.
That's crazy, man.
You always hear that, you know, any snap could be your last. And for Bywater, I think we can all see him running off the field, kind of holding that shoulder oddly, and that was it.
I think they misplayed that. I think they should have said, we'll know on Thursday.
Huh.
Each Thursday, go. Is Bywater going to play today or this week? Well, we don't know. And then find out when the linebackers. And again, you have the linebackers line up. Add a little drama
but
into
Kalani
it.
would have had to say, 20 doctors.
Who? What?
30 doctors. Because it was unanimous instead of uno doctor. Instead of one doctor, it'd be 20 or 30 doctors.
Well,
All
it
agree
was
that Ben
unanimous.
Bywater can't play.
On the other one, it was one doctor.
Right.
It was unanimous.
Florida State tabbed to repeat as ACC champs in the league's preseason media poll. Seminoles edged the Clemson Tigers, 81 first-place votes to 55 for Clemson. The traditional big dogs expected to be back at the top in the ACC. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
James lost it. Davis saves it. Durant shoots it. Durant scores it.
Look at him looking at the bench.
Booker looking to take advantage. And he does. Hooping hard for Devin Booker. Bodies flying after the play. And Book with a chance for a big-time three-point play. Durant. Bounce it. Davis. Oh! Skyscraper. Big-time flush from Davis. And a timeout from South Sudan.
Team USA rolling past South Sudan 103-84. U.S. opened up a double-digit lead in the first half, and South Sudan never got it down to single digits. Team USA rolls. Bam Adebayo comes off the bench, 18 points to lead the team. Joel Embiid did not play in this game. Tatum got the start. So they rotate. Who's the odd man out? Embiid this time. Back in action Saturday against Puerto Rico. That's the first-place team in the group against the last-place team in the group.
Embiid was low load management.
Jimmer Fredette and Team USA, 3-on-3 basketball, losing again, beaten by Poland, 19-17. Jimmer missed a potential game-time two-point shot late.
I thought it went to 21.
They have a time limit on it, and nobody got to 21 in the time limit. So
Well, where do they got to go? They're in France. They got no place to go.
he was treated for an injury during the contest, didn't talk to the media, so don't know exactly how serious it is, but the U.S. is now 0-2. They've got 2 games set today.
They can't wait for a couple more buckets?
There it is.
That's stupid. Time limit.
Jared Allen, Cavaliers
Thank God
center.
for baseball.
Jared Allen, Cavaliers center, has agreed to a 3-year, $91 million max contract extension.
Thank God for Jared Allen.
Gets the money and stays put. 91 mil. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
0-2 offering, and that's a fly ball, deep right field. It is down the right field line. If it's fair, it's gone, and it is long gone. The first Major League homer for Jackson Holliday. It's a grand slam. And the Orioles, as soon as it's a one-run game, surge forward on the first big league homer for Jackson Holliday.
0-1 pitch. Travis belts one to deep left field. That's pounded as well. They've gone back-to-back for the second time in the ball game. Olsen and d'Arnaud, a stout 1-2 punch in the 4th, and they do it again here in the 8th.
Swings and lifts one to left center field. On the run, Luke Raley back at the wall. It's off the wall. Here comes O'Neill around third, and the Red Sox win.
Highlights from around Major League Baseball. The Orioles, 10-4 winners over the Blue Jays. 65 wins. They just keep stacking them up. Also in there, well, I don't know that we heard it in there. Your Arizona Diamondbacks, you were worried about after 17 games, the bats would go quiet. They eked out a 5-4 win. They're 5 games back of the Dodgers.
12 fewer runs, dude.
Yeah.
I told you they'd go quiet.
Well, 5's not exactly quiet. It's normal. Routine.
How do you know what they average?
That's about right for a Major League Baseball team. 5 runs. Clayton Kershaw, 423 regular season starts, had a strikeout in every single one of them, and that streak ended last night in an 8-1 loss to the Padres. 423 starts in a row with a strikeout. I don't know what the record is. You ever heard of that stat before?
Nope.
Yankees win again. DJ LeMahieu with a grand slam, and the Yankees beat the Phillies. A potential World Series matchup right there. Yankees win 6-5. The Bees cannot be stopped. 12 straight victories. They win in Tacoma, 10-6, the final score. 12 straight. They'll go for 13 tonight. Coverage starts at 7:50 on the Zone. Tony Parks will be on the air then, and first pitch at 8:05 as the Bees go for 13 in a row.
Hashtag RSL.
Real Salt Lake opens play in the 2024 Leagues Cup tonight. America First Field against Club Atlas from Liga MX. First kick set for 7 o'clock. Pre-match show at 6. RSL has had about 10 days off here, so a chance to rest, focus. This is the last game in this suspension for Chicho, so no Chicho tonight. Anderson Julio will get the start up top. But other than that, they ought to be at full strength.
Did you know that Pablo called him Julio Anderson?
Got it backwards.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. Utah Royals, 5-1 winners over Club Tijuana in group play in the NWSL Liga MX Femenil Summer Cup. The Royals, who had problems scoring all season, are suddenly scoring in this tournament.
Really?
Yes, 5 goals is a season high.
Reminds me of you in college.
Ha. Good one. DJ and PK.
Hashtag golf.
PGA Tour doesn't usually take weeks off, PK. Usually we have some kind of tournament. Even if it's a smaller event, opposite like a major at the British Open or something like that. But they are taking it off because the top players are in Paris for the Olympics this week.
But we got the Corn Ferry here.
Yes, we do.
I used to go to that when it was down my way.
Willow Creek for years.
Championship now up at
Farmington.
Up in Farmington,
Yeah.
Xander Schauffele, defending gold medalist from the Tokyo Games. His play gets underway in Paris. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
The Utah Hockey Club making a little bit of news, announcing a 1-year ECHL affiliate agreement with the Allen Americans in Texas. The Americans compete in the same division as the Utah Grizzlies in the ECHL.
Well, sorry, Grizzlies, but I have a rule. I root for the Americans, and I make no apologies about it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Draw the line in the sand, or in this case, the ice.
Right. So it was going to be on top. I don't know that I can get it actually in. You know what I mean? I'd have to have a real thick Sharpie. And I don't have that. So, yeah, I root for the Americans, and I just don't apologize for it.
What is Trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up, Frank Dolce, former Ute quarterback, is going to join us at 8 o'clock to talk Ute football. Kelly Papenga, BYU defensive ends coach and special teams coordinator, at 9:05. PK and I talked to him at the end of practice yesterday. We'll play that conversation for you at 9 o'clock. A lot of football ahead. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
What do you bet me the Jazz team that finally gets over the hump is just lightning in a bottle and somehow it lines up and they get it randomly? John Stockton and Karl Malone are being like, are you kidding? We had to walk through fire and we lost in the end to Michael Jordan.
Like, that's absolutely the formula. You get a couple of guys who randomly out of nowhere spike, have great seasons. You make some trade before the year or at the trade deadline. It pushes you over the top and you win a title, and then they all go their separate ways, and they are not these like great Utahns. I mean, John Stockton and Karl Malone have roads named after them. They have statues.
Yeah. Part of what we love about sports, it's the hope that everybody sells, is that it is possible. It is if this lines up right for us or if that lines up right for us. But it's also frustrating to people who watch it because we all want to know what's going to happen. It's like our favorite soap opera. Like, we're dying to know. What's the plan? If I hear what's the plan with the Jazz again, I'm going to lose it.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Hot Takes or Toast is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah. Question of the morning. Gerry Bohanon said he's 100% healthy after BYU's first practice. So, what is your prediction on the BYU quarterback situation? Mark, since he's coming out of fall camp in Provo, I assume the opposite is true.
Why?
It's all spin, according to Mark.
Why?
He does not say why.
Why?
I don't know why he doesn't say why.
Why?
Because he didn't tell me.
You didn't answer any of my questions.
We could try to assume why, but he does not explain.
They spin no more than any other program spins.
Right. But spinning about injury is something that happens at this time. Yeah, I can do it. He wants to be chosen. He doesn't want to sit out. So he's going to say he's healthy. He wouldn't be the first athlete who lied to the training staff and the coaches about how he was feeling. Tried to play through something. Wouldn't be the last. Dave believes, he's just taking it at face value. Dave says, Gerry is your starter.
Yeah, if I'm McMahon and Detmer, some of those records right now, I'm nervous.
And why would that be?
A healthy Bohanon.
Unstoppable.
Has any quarterback in BYU history led their team to a power conference championship that is not named Bohanon? I think not.
Steve says this is a classic football adage. It applies here. When you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. He doesn't believe in Bohanon and Retzlaff. Not buying it. Earl believes Bohanon will play the first half of the season, and when the Cougars lose too much, they're going to play quarterback number 2. And he says, my beloved Cougs are only going to win 4 games this year.
4?
4. All that preseason optimism, Earl missed out on that.
Man.
He did not stand in the preseason optimism line. 4-8. Oof.
Well, if they bother to show up for the last game or two.
Matt says, my prediction is BYU will have someone playing the quarterback spot.
You know, Matt, I guess your wife thinks you're funny.
Ha!
I've yet to meet a spouse, wife. My guy, he just had no sense of humor, man. You ever noticed that? Oh, he's hilarious. He just keeps me laughing. That, and we had our guy picked much lower on the draft board, but we figured, what the heck, we'll take him now.
We picked 8th. We had him ranked 12th. What the heck?
Yeah. You know, because, I mean, who knows, really? Come on, guys. They've blown the number 1 picks before. We got the number 10 pick. You expect us to get it right? We don't know. We know. We took a shot at it. We'll find out. Ready? Break.
Brian believes that if Bohanon stays healthy in August, it's his job to lose.
I wonder why that is.
Because Bohanon has played more major college football. And Retzlaff was 0-5 as a starter last year.
Ooh, he saddled another loss upon him. Man, he ended the season 0-4, but somewhere along the line you gave him another one.
That's true. It was in the middle of that game with the 5-game losing streak that Slovis got hurt. Okay, we'll go 4. Because he did redshirt, so he couldn't have played the 5th game. 0-4. And Bohanon's got experience. There you go.
You're like arguing with yourself over there.
What just happened?
Well, if you weren't on your phone, you'd know.
You entertain me.
Well, that's my goal.
In ceaseless amounts of ways that are not supposed to be.
Ha!
But that's the beauty of it.
Well, there you go.
That's your charm.
Thank you.
You just had a conversation with yourself.
Well, you were quiet over
and
there.
And you got to the point. It took you a while. And I thought, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong again.
And then
no,
finally,
you're right. Okay.
And
if, you know.
Yeah, I rallied. late.
Ends to the means.
Early turnovers.
You know.
But hit some big shots down the stretch.
You're taking a test and you erase 2 or 3 answers and you finally circle the right one. Teacher don't know. You got it right. But, I mean, your constant just shot-taking at BYU this week, it's just got to cease.
I thought it was shot-taking in Utah this week. I'm really confused.
No. You said that Utah goes to UCF this year and somebody else, but I don't know if they have any other good teams going in, knowing full well the Cougars went in and are going in.
I did not know that full well.
Well, you should. You're a schedule man. You're addicted to looking up crap.
You say that, and yet I'm not. Or I would have known that.
And he defends himself. Who knew?
Just pointing out you're wrong.
And then there was another shot you took.
This is like a fencing.
He took another shot at BYU
23 years. Don't worry about it, Yak.
I was trying to figure out. I can't remember which ones. I'll know Saturday night when I go back and listen to all the shows to see how I could do better.
Oh, is that what Saturday's for, is reviewing all 20 hours?
Yes. I take this job very seriously. Not a blow-off. This is my life. This defines who I am.
So what do you think? I think Bohanon is likely if he's healthy. I expect it would be him.
Really? Why is that?
The experience. Been there, done that in a way Retzlaff hasn't.
Can't argue that. If that's what you're going to base it on. Obviously.
We don't get to see all of the practice sessions. If Bohanon's out there and he's throwing a bunch of picks, then Retzlaff will be the starter if he's not. So it's not locked down, but I would think off the experience factor, I would think Bohanon.
Retzlaff threw 0 interceptions in spring ball. 0. Not one. You cannot do better than that. He was slinging it. The defenders were flying around, and he was still slinging it. But if you're going to base it solely on experience or largely, as that's your number one form of criteria, it can't be argued that he has.
Is there something else we should base it on?
Yes, ability. I think that's the large factor, is ability. Who has the best ability right now? Not who did well in 2022.
In your conversations with the people you love dearly on every football staff that we cover, anyone giving you a little heads up on who has the better ability? Or were all the conversations about health in the spring when we were having them?
Well, my conversations have since been as recent as yesterday. So spring ball
is in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Where is it now?
Let me go back. Just babble on like I wasn't here, like you do with your 42-minute what is trending thing when I'm out.
Yeah, give me some baseball highlights.
Retzlaff, I think the public statement is that, it was close, but I don't think it was. We're talking spring ball now. So with right now, they got that acclimation period. What's it take, 3 days or something, whatever it is, and they gradually build up to full uniform. Not that the quarterbacks will ever be in full contact. They don't do that. Nobody does that in any form of practicing anymore. But the way I look at it right now, the rest of this week is just an extension of spring ball, right? And then when they get the pads and they do all that stuff,
it gets real.
Then it's the start of training camp. So with that in mind, I've got Retzlaff as the guy right now. And largely because of Bohanon's inability to do things based on the shoulder injury, Retzlaff lapped him.
Right.
Right.
So do you believe that Bohanon's 100% when he says he's 100%?
I have no idea.
Because he clearly wasn't in the spring.
I have no
idea. And that created a lot of separation.
But see, they anticipated that. It wasn't like, oh, wow, why take this kid? So it was in their minds that he was going to get there, learn about what they're trying to do, try to soak it up and all that. And by accounts from those folks, he's a smart enough kid. That's not an issue. He'll be able to have that as much as somebody who's been in the program for this short of a time would have it. So he'll be able to go out there and do his thing. And I still think that it'll be Retzlaff. But I'm telling you, man, they're going to utilize Retzlaff's legs. So
he's going to take hits.
They're not going to have any caution. They're not going to protect. The last couple of years, they've had to protect. And they're not going to do that now. They're not worried about protecting. If the play calls for somebody to do something from the quarterback position, so be it. It's like you heard Ludwig on Monday basically say, we're going to protect Rising. That is a part of the game plan to not give him the type of exposure that could cause anything. And you never know. Things happen. The best laid plans can go awry. This is a violent sport. And it's as violent as it's ever been.
But he made it clear that they're going to limit the number of times Cam gets hit.
And I don't think they're going to do that here for the Cougs. If they want to run whatever play they want to run.
QB run game, bring it on.
And also if he sees a lane,
take off and
take off, go. They're encouraging that. So that could lead it. But I think, to me, unless there's a drastic change in 3 weeks, and I just don't know that there's enough time that could be the case, that Retzlaff will be the guy at the start. But Bohanon, somewhere along the line, for whatever reason it might be, he's going to have an opportunity. And he's going to continue to get healthier. He says he's 100%. I don't know. I don't know what his pain tolerance was. I know they knew that, and he knew, everyone knew that he wasn't capable of doing some stuff. So I can't really see that. I just don't know that. And plus, even if I saw him, I don't remember him before. I know he led the team, Baylor, to a really good record, but I don't remember that out he threw from hash to hash. Right. You know what I mean? So I don't really have anything to judge it on. They do, but I don't. So I can only go on word of mouth right now rather than visually watching him. Like you can see that Notre Dame game down in Vegas. The Cougs come out, and Hall throws a pass that was awful, and it was intercepted. I want to say it was the first play from scrimmage for the Cougars.
It was.
And you're looking at it like, what's that duck? Well, if you know the background of what they've got going on there, and they don't have anybody else, their guy Romney took off. They thought he was going to stay, blah, 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 and that created a bunch of ill will and all that stuff, but that's over now. Well, if you knew the backstory, you understood why, right? And so that type of information with Bohanon and what he was able to do before and what he can do now, I can only judge on what he can do now. And hopefully for him, when he says he's 100%, that's great. But he's probably not going to come out and make a public statement, man, I'm about 80, 85.
Yeah.
That basically eliminates the competition. In fact, if that's the case, you might even move him down a peg and start to get Bourget ready to go. Or Mort ready to go.
80% of Bohanon not good enough.
No, not.
So someone else has got to back up Retzlaff, who's going to be running and taking hits.
Yeah, and 80% of Hall wasn't good enough, but it was no choice. You see, you see the difference.
Yeah, 80 because they didn't have a backup, because they got caught short, because Romney left unexpectedly.
Yeah,
80% of Hall was still better than 100% of anybody else they had on the roster.
Well, yeah, they had no confidence in anybody else. We know the guy's name. I don't want to just keep piling on him. But that's the way it was here. That won't be the case now. So I think they're dealing from a position of strength right now. And you can go, wow, they don't have, they had 2, they don't have 1, blah, 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 blah. Well, sometimes that's going to happen in college ball with the turnover. And now, even in the old days, which was just a few years ago, that could happen, right? I mean, they had to have, who was the kid? Stewart? He's out of eligibility, but he had spring ball eligibility, and they asked him to play spring ball.
Because we don't have any quarterbacks.
Knowing that he couldn't even play the following season. That was crazy, right? So that stuff in college, you can see where occasionally that happens. You do everything possible to avoid it from happening, but quarterbacks were transferring. Now, you might see it even more. Maybe you won't see it more because they can then go right back to the transfer portal, where before you had to convince a kid, come here and sit out a year, and maybe that was just too much. But I can see it happening. Utah's going to have it next year. If everything goes according to plan, they're going to have an inexperienced quarterback next year. And they're going to have a quarterback derby. So they wouldn't have any? You're going to have that. It's almost like a guarantee that that's the way it's going to be. That somebody plays 2 or 3 years, and then you have an open deal. Max Hall played for 3 years, was the winningest quarterback they had, right? 30-some wins. Well, in the following year, he's going to take off, and you're going to have a quarterback competition. I think it's when you get into the season, if you're not sold on one, then it becomes that cliche. If you have 2, you have none. But not now.
So now we're trying to figure out if Bohanon's telling the truth when he says he's at 100%. He wasn't 100% in the spring. That's not good enough. Retzlaff's the guy. If he's not 100% now, Retzlaff's the guy. If he is 100%, then maybe it gets interesting. Or maybe he's just the guy. But maybe there's a package for Retzlaff because he's scrappy and he can run, and you got 2 quarterbacks who you have some level of competence in. And everybody loves to run the quarterback.
Yeah, I think they got more than 2, but I think you're sleeping on Bourget.
In the long run, there's a lot of high hopes for him. You really think he could play in September?
This year?
Yeah.
No.
Right. Could he? He's not going to get that many snaps if he's not ready to go then. And I guess unless they have an injury, then
well,
you start
but
getting
you
the
saw
number
what
2
they were
snaps.
doing yesterday. We literally saw it. They split it up.
Right.
So they had one on one side of the field and the other on the other. I was trying to remember, did I ever see that? And, I can't remember. I've been covering
Can't
this.
remember everything, but if it did happen, it didn't happen very often.
Jay Hill implemented it at BYU last fall
They were
camp.
trying to get everybody more
Split
reps.
squad is what
right.
they like to call it.
Trying to get everybody more reps.
But I think there was more from the offensive perspective.
It was.
Than the defensive perspective. So everything is filmed. They got those eyes in the sky at multiple places on the practice field. Everything is filmed. And they will review it as recently as last night and today, blah, blah, blah. And they'll go into it, and they'll have everything will be dissected, and it will be recorded and in the annals of history upon the records of the BYU football team. And they'll do it again today, and so forth and so on. And I don't know that they can wait too long. Man, to me, it's got to be 2 weeks. You got to have 2 weeks from now, you got to have something.
Back to Devon Vele, the receivers need to know who the quarterback is and get a lot of reps with him and develop that familiarity.
I suppose, given the fact that it's not a big-time opener, maybe they can fudge that a little bit if they wanted to go close to game week. But the thing that they do in game week is that it seems like every team does it too. Once they get 15 practices in, 16, 17, they start calling it game week way earlier. It's like, well, wait a second. It's not game week. But they call it fall camp has closed. Like they bring down curtains. Utah loves to do that. Fall camp is officially closed. And what that means is then they have scout team and they split it up. And it is different from the training camp, but it's not like in 5 days you're going to play. Usually it's longer than that. It's 8-9 days because they're so eager to get out of fall camp. They've been doing the same thing now for X amount of days, and they're ready to go. So I think that's what will happen. So if it's at the conclusion of what they call fall camp, which is so stupid, I don't know why they call it fall camp, but anyway, I call it training camp. At the conclusion of that, there'll be more than just a handful of practices to go. So it'll take care of itself. And for BYU, they'll have the slip and slide, and away they go. Fall camp is over. Another year has gone by.
They had the slip and slide before fall camp even began this year. They went to the water park on Tuesday.
What a team-building activity. What water parks, man? Most of the water parks are closed now.
A lot of them have closed.
The old Seven Peaks is reopened now.
It's reopened?
That's where they went. It's called Splash Summit or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So they got it out of the way early, even before camp started.
I was at that once. It was one of the grossest things I'd ever seen. A guy having a slice of pizza walking into the men's room.
Oh. Yeah. Not good.
I know.
A public restroom in a water park. Yeah. I don't know that any restroom would be good, but there's levels, and that's even worse. Ugh.
Yeah. Like maybe a Twinkie, but not a piece of pizza.
No.
And I watched him walk right in there. I thought, ooh, that's disgusting. Finish it and then go in. Because then if you're doing what you're supposed to do in there, are you eating simultaneously? It gets even grosser.
All right, break time.
Stop.
I'm horrified.
We're done.
When we come back, new topic. Jimmer Fredette, 0-2. What's going wrong? We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Accessing
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G.
Ike Larson, safety for the Utah State Aggies.
I'm so impressed you stayed committed when Blake Anderson was still in place and came out of season and going into spring, and then had an opportunity to go in the portal, and you stayed committed to this staff as it remains. What has kept you in place through this?
I think just the trust and, the family that I built with Utah State and the new coaches. Coach Johnny, for example, he's been here, 4-6 months, and, our relationship is already great. Me and Coach A's relationship was like none other. I mean, I'll go over to his house if he needed anything, and he'll come to my house if he needed anything. So, it's hard, but I think that's what helps me at the end of the day is, having coaches that trust me and I trust them, that I know will put me out there when the game's on the line.
Catch Hans and Scotty weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Not to speculate or anything, but Jimmer was out there. He's getting worked on a little bit. I mean, when one of your guys is dealing with injury, maybe not full 100%, how does that affect the team?
Yeah, I don't know. I think when you're this game is hard to play with three, and that's not something I'm really concerned about. I haven't caught up with Jimmer yet, but I'm sure he's fine. He's a warrior, and he wants to be out here and win. So, I'm not too concerned about that just yet. But, it's you just got to find different ways to win. I mean, I've played over 300 3x3 games and probably won a different way every single one. So it's just more of the same, more of that.
The band of the day today is Def Leppard. Lead singer Joe Elliott is 65 today. It's brought to you by Live Nation. For all of the live concerts and events in 2024, check out livenation.com. Jimmer Fredette not meeting with the media after the loss. Poland beats them 19-17. The U.S. 3-on-3 team is 0-2. Jimmer's team is 0-2 in the Olympics. What is wrong?
Well, they need to make changes, man. If I'm the coach, I'm extremely nervous about getting replaced.
Tyler says he's not a Ute. That's the problem.
He's a warrior. We just heard it. Who was that guy?
Kareem Maddox.
Gary Maddox?
Gary Maddox, yes. Kareem Maddox, also known as.
Gary Maddox, roams center field for the San Pedro High Pirates.
Famous Maddoxes. Go. Gary, Greg, Kareem. Are we done?
Elliott.
Maddox Steakhouse up in Perry.
Ryan says there's no magic. They must not be living right on and off the field.
Man, I should have patented that right then and there.
Could have made some money, like Pat Riley with the 3-peat.
Never won an award. Jeez, what do I got to do?
Martin says the ball's not going in the hoop. Thank you, Jim Boylan. Katie Haas, all four of them are too small. They need more height. Earl, they don't have enough height. Simple. Donnie, size. All the other teams are taller, and they're scoring points inside. U.S. plays poor defense, and they can't give up free points in 3-on-3 basketball.
Well, then shoot the two-pointer. I mean, gosh, how many losses do you need before you're done? You guys are my Olympic guys. You live and die this stuff. So what's the format? They're 0-2.
They're 0-2. They play 6 games. They might already be done. One more loss, and I think the medal hopes are toast at that point.
Not even the bronze? Oh, crap.
Maybe at 4-2 they can get some tiebreakers and get in.
Maybe? So they got to go undefeated now?
I would think so, yeah.
Yikes, man. I mean, height. I thought we got away from height. Now we're back in height. We need height.
Chris says they should have NBA guys playing. There's plenty of good players that are not on the regular team that would be way better in this 3-on-3 game.
Like who?
Anybody who's not on the team, I guess. You could run through some All-Stars, whoever you like. Who do you like?
It's got to be All-Stars? You just said regular NBA players.
Donovan Mitchell.
I mean, shockingly, Micah Potter is not on this team.
I'm stunned.
Well, could they have been, though?
I don't know. I don't know how the whole eligibility thing works. I suppose at some point they could have pivoted to that. I've read
it's the qualifying stuff. Were they available? Not are they eligible. These are the Olympics. Anybody's eligible.
Yeah, I don't know. Can someone else qualify and then you change the roster? I mean, you can in other sports, but I don't know what the rules are for 3-on-3. No. In other sports, you can qualify and then change the roster.
It can't be done. These are literally the best 3-on-3 players in the country. Unless, I mean, if they put Brett Yormark in because he's got experience taking teams to Rucker Park, and they could have gained that. I'm not sure why. I mean, Krzyzewski coached Duke and coached the Olympics. Why can't Yormark run the 3-on-3 and run the Big 12?
The Olympics need someone like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, don't throw our guy Fran Fraschilla to the wolves yet.
Well, they're 0-2. Fran's got to wear it. Is he coming on? He was going to, but now.
We've been working on it.
No, they're 0-2 now.
He's probably less inclined now, yeah.
What are you going to come on and say?
I don't want to talk about that.
Is he the GM? Is he the president?
What's his title?
He's kind of a mixture of all that. He's coaching a little bit. He's obviously
a man of many hats.
He helped recruit Jimmer to play for this team.
I thought he just bought him lunch.
Well, that was part of it.
That's all it took? I got to admit, I've never heard of Kareem Maddox or Dylan Travis. And the only reason why I heard of Barry is because he's Rick Barry's son and the half-brother of the other guys who played in the NBA. Brent, John, and who's the other one? Scooter?
Yeah.
And obviously Brent and John played a long time. And you had a brush with John the other day.
I did. Down in Southern California on vacation, sitting there eating, looked up. Who's that tall guy at the counter ordering? Turns, walks out. He's got a hat on, but yeah. I said, hey, I think that's one of the Barrys. And I texted you, and you said, well, yeah, he lives down there. He's got a place. You've run into him on the sand.
I've run him in multiple places, yeah. And his brother, Brent. I've run into both of them there. Right. Was that cooler than us running into Vince Vaughn and getting our picture with Vince Vaughn?
Oh, getting the picture takes it to another level.
Which I reluctantly did. But my friends, I'm going to talk to Vince Vaughn. He's just sitting right there.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, jeez. You know, me being a big-time celebrity myself.
Yeah, you wouldn't want people to do that to you, so you don't want to do it to them.
I was a little hesitant.
Little golden rule stuff.
Squeamish
right
here. Yeah. But he was done eating and then had our picture taken.
Received you warmly.
Vince Vaughn?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Stunningly warm. He was the opposite of John Stockton in the concierge room in San Francisco. When we ran into him.
Polar opposite.
Yes. No, Vince Vaughn, he just rolled out the welcome mat he's probably about as big time as you can get.
He had an awesome run there. Made a bunch of popular movies.
Yeah, for sure. So were there other players that they could have gotten that could have been better? Well, right now it looks like. But I don't know how that went into it and what they were thinking.
I thought someone did an interview with Jimmer, and he said something along the lines of, this is the last time it'll be like that. They're going to find a way to work NBA guys in the future.
Really?
Yeah, I thought I saw some interview about that a few
Well, then it would be the only
ago.
time, not the last time.
Well, they didn't qualify last time, so.
Hence, it'd be the only time.
Yeah. I don't know who they used for that team, but not NBA guys.
Yeah. And do we really need a 3-on-3 Olympic team anyway?
No.
We don't?
Yeah, I got along just fine in the Olympics without it, but here it is now, so we might as well win it.
But if that's your attitude, then do we really need an Olympic handball team or whatever? We can get along fine just without it. I mean, BYU and Utah didn't play. The world didn't end. We can get along fine just without it. But if we're going to have one, you play to win. I agree. And when I did my bets, when I was down for Big 12 Media Days in Vegas, and I did my bets on the Olympics, I did not have us losing to Poland.
Wow, that 10 large, man.
Yeah, right.
This is all a lie.
You saw me. I texted you of me being in the sports book.
Well, that was because you were sitting next to quite the character.
Yeah, I have photographical evidence of me being in the sports book.
Photographical evidence?
Yes. Or is it photographical?
I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I think you just went down there to watch.
Apocryphal. Come on, let's just work our way down.
I think you just
list.
went down there to watch games and you don't really care about the rest of it.
I did. The Jazz were in the summer league. And I went over to the Orleans, where one time Scotty used to have some kind of connection there. And so I was doing the show right outside the sports book.
Uh-huh.
And security is surrounding me. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Like, guys, I'm doing a radio show here. They had to get the PR guy who, of course, approved it. I wasn't just going to show up with my equipment and plug in.
Right.
Everything was set. But it was out in the open. I've done it in many different places there. I used to do it in the Mandalay Bay, and they had a little studio right.
Yeah, I thought you were in the studio. I didn't know you were out there.
No, this was literally out in the open.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't get that part.
Yeah, no, this was literally out in the open. And when I walked by that night, I had some fond memories of security literally surrounding me. I mean, these guys could get a job with Secret Service now, and yeah, I couldn't see past them, and they're like poking at me while I'm doing the show. But then other times there was a little radio booth in the Mandalay Bay, and I used to have to drive over there. And that was always entertaining because it would be like 5 o'clock in the morning, Vegas time, and I'm walking in, and the people I see, they haven't been to bed yet.
Oof.
And some of them, they look like they hadn't been to bed yet.
Beaten down.
Yes, overnight. I couldn't imagine staying up all night doing that stuff.
DJ and PK, when we come back, Frank Dolce joins us, former Utah quarterback. We'll talk Ute football. And coming up at 9 o'clock, BYU assistant coach Kelly Papinga. Stay with us right here on The Zone.